So just as an introduction, hot weather, it's difficult. It's not just one single thing. There's lots of different ways that it can affect you. And for long-term health conditions, everybody's kind of, especially when you've got more than one, you you really rely on having your daily routine, like just the core features of your daily routine, like sleeping, eating, exercising, socializing, everything like that. You It can obviously be quite a balancing act, to get all of those components just right and working. And when it's hot weather, a lot of that can just go right out the window. So you you might lose your appetite, or just not be able to sleep, and then everything's harder than it should be. It could be too hot to exercise for a big part of the day. And also, it's the season where everybody wants to go traveling and visiting and go on day trips because it's sunny outside. And that can be really, really hard if you're trying to manage different medications and food, and not being sure how far you'll be able to walk that day, or how long you're going to be out in the sun for. Because, when you're in a group and there's children, things can, even the best laid plans can slip, and it can be quite challenging to be prepared for these kinds of things. So some sort of general tips, obviously, take it steady. Really pace yourself. Don't overdo it, because you might not be able to have the same activity levels as you normally do. So if there's an air conditioned gym that you can go to, that's obviously very nice. Or if you can change the time of day where you go, to be early or late in the day, that can be good as well. Um, Keeping heat out of the house is a very good thing. So you can either close the curtains, or you could put a towel or tape tinfoil to the windows. And especially if you tape it onto the outside, that can be very, very, very effective in keeping your home cool. And yeah, just be very careful to listen to your body. If you've got any devices and gadgets that you use, like a Fitbit, or if you use a blood glucose monitor, or your oxygen saturation or blood pressure, things like that, you could use if you're feeling a bit grotty. You might want to use these devices a bit more often to check in and see, have a look at, are all these factors different to normal. Um, if you're not if you especially if you're thinking about, do I need to get some medical help? Like, has it gotten bad enough that I should go to the doctor? If you're kind of umming and ahhing, um, if you've got a gadget that measures things, it can be good to bring those in. But not everybody likes them, obviously. So one of the big factors is air quality. So like we said, humidity, it makes it harder to get enough oxygen. So especially with COPD or asthma, where you're um, having a problem with just shifting enough air, it can be quite hard work. So you would need to factor that into your activity levels. Um, Before you go out, there's places online, like the DEFRA website, where you can check the air quality and things like the pollen forecast. If you check that just before you go out, um, that can be a good guide as well. Uh, if the Obviously, a big map of the UK, that's a big scale. Um, air, air quality, it can be quite patchy when you get down to the sort of the smaller scale. So if you're going out for a walk, um, if you walk along the main road, the air quality will be much worse along the main road than if you go parallel to the main road, sort of a couple of streets parallel to the main road. Um, the air can be a lot better quality. And if you go somewhere with trees, so yeah, walk if you're struggling with the pollution, you might be okay in a park, even if by the main road it's really a problem. So yeah, just think about your routes.
There's a just to
Okay.
add to that, Beth. You can buy little personal devices that monitor the pollution as you go along, and they'll flash a little red light at you if you're approaching a bad sort of area. Produced in France by Flow Laboratories. There probably are others there as well. I think it was about £100 for a monitor, and that
Yeah.
can be worth thinking about as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And especially like if sort of with London or Manchester, where you're kind of in a city, you can walk through patches of really much higher quality and much lower quality. It's on a smaller scale than you might expect. And obviously, like the tops of hills get more wind, more ventilation. And somewhere like so I grew up in Reading in the Thames Valley, and it's horrible for trapping pollution. So everybody was having sort of allergies. There was just really high level of allergies and sinus problems all around there.
But actually, in London itself, the clean zones are having quite an impact
Yeah,
on things like asthma to reduce pollution levels around central London.
yeah,
It's a bit, it's not that good, but you do notice that there are a lot more electric vehicles around, and that does make a difference.
There's
mm,
been
But
a big drop in recorded pollution, but you've got a rising issue of wood burning problems
yeah,
with the new stoves. So that's kind of almost replacing the traffic
yeah,
problem, unfortunately.
yeah, exactly. It's ridiculous. Yeah.
yeah. I've noticed that this year here there seems to be a lot more. I'm I'm not sure if it's bonfires or barbecues or stoves, but yeah, it smells nice, but it's
No, it
not very good for
doesn't.
you, I think. Oh, maybe I'm weird. Yeah, yeah. And the other thing to just remember about humidity is if obviously if the overall humidity is higher, it makes it more difficult to get rid of dampness in your home. So if during heat wave, if you have a shower or you're cooking a lot in the kitchen, that room will get obviously um, a bit of condensation, while you're doing it. You probably will have to ventilate for longer or open a window for longer if it's really humid. Otherwise, you might find it's not drying out enough in between showers and meals. Especially if you've got a lot of people in the house and everybody wants to have extra showers because they're sweaty. You just have to, yeah, you need to just make sure you're on top of that so that you don't get any mold growing in strange corners. Hydration, I think we're probably all pretty aware of how important it is. I've put the little colour chart in the corner without being indelicate. Um, you want your pee to be kind of pale straw coloured. If it's darker, then you really do need to get some more water. Um, it's not all water, it's not always very exciting, so you might want to try putting in just something for flavour, like sliced lemon or a bit of cucumber or mint leaves or some or just squash is good as well, just so that just to make it a bit more palatable because when it's yeah
Why have they given different yellowness of wee a name?
that it's a paint chart.
Oh, right.
Um,
Okay.
although yeah, if you wanted to use that, if you needed to show your doctor, I've been more of a grapefruit today. You could do. They might not like it. Yeah. But yeah, it's just the easiest way to keep track of it. And also sip the water. Don't have a massive. Don't sort of drink a litre in the morning and a litre at night. It's much better for your body if you just sip it throughout the day, because otherwise, your kidneys will pee it all out too quickly. You want it to take it in gradually so that your body can process it and hold on to what it needs. If you're going out for the day or you're traveling to visit somebody, take more water than you think you're going to need because um, the British rail system is not built for heat. You might get a train cancellation or you might get stuck in a traffic jam for much longer than you're expecting. So take more than you need. And if you're in the car, you could just put a couple of litres extra just in the boot, and then it's there if you need it. And in the house, it's a good idea, if you freeze plenty of ice cubes before the heat wave starts, it's quite good. So if you've been somewhere and you come home and you're really too hot, some ice water is a really quick way to cool down, but not if you have to wait for the ice cubes to freeze first. Oh, and yeah, things like salad and ice lollies, obviously you get water in them. So if drinking enough water is tedious, just get a little creative, find some wet foods that have got more flavour that you like. Medication, obviously, a big topic for everyone here. Each medication is different, so unfortunately you'll have to look through them each individually. For stability, so just be aware of, for each medication that you take, just have a look on the leaflet and see what it recommends for storage. So if the room temperature is getting too high, you might want to put the medication maybe in a cupboard, a closed cupboard, to keep it cooler. If something doesn't say to keep it in the fridge, don't put it in the fridge, because then it could get too cold. But yeah, the leaflet will give you a temperature range for each one, so just make sure that they're all at their correct temperature. If you're going out for the day, you can get little cool pouches that have a little gel pack that goes in there as well. But check with your pharmacist. You might want to check with your pharmacist before you use anything like this, just to make sure it's okay. I think the big tip for this is be really careful to keep your medication on you, because if you leave it in a hot car and then you go somewhere and you take longer than you think, by the time you come back, it could have overheated a lot more than you might expect. And obviously take any, like if you've got a rescue inhaler, even if you hardly ever use it and you don't normally need it with you, be more careful to take things with you. Or if you've got any emergency kits or emergency cards, you might be glad if you bring things with you. With antifungals, the big issue for this is with voriconazole. Probably you all know this already, but obviously be really careful in the sun, because it's photosensitizing, and so you can get really severe burns or blistering if you go out in the sun, even if it's not that hot, or even if you think, oh well, I'll just quickly just nip to the corner shop. If you've got exposed skin, say if you wear open sandals and you just nip to the shop and back, that can be enough to get a really nasty burn. And in fact, somebody that previously used to come to this group showed us some photos. I think she'd only put the bins out, but in between the straps on her sandals, it all came up in blisters, and she was hardly outside at all. So just be really, really cautious, and make sure that you're not forgetting anything. So feet, it's very easy to forget, or like ears, or you're parting in your hair. It's probably good to wear a nice wiping cap.
Sorry, do you mind if I ask again, is that all antifungals, or is that particular? So it's not the itraconazole.
It's mainly voriconazole. I don't think the other ones have any.
I think one or two have. If it's voriconazole in particular, can be quite extreme for some patients. Even some, I think Doug used to talk about getting blisters inside his lip because he walked along covered in sunblock, but had his mouth open when he was walking along, and the sun shone into his mouth. That's extreme. That's very extreme. One or two of the other azoles, I think maybe posaconazole, also increases sensitivity a bit. So with all of them, it's worthwhile being cautious.
Yeah.
Right, I had no idea. Thank you.
Yeah. Beth,
Uh-huh.
some antibiotics can make you photosensitive as well. Because one of the group on a Thursday, he was on doxycycline and he was badly affected by the sun recently. You know, when we had that heat wave?
Mm.
And so yeah, you just got to be careful sometimes with medication, don't you?
Doxycycline is a favourite.
Yeah.
Yeah,
for
that's
some
really
sensitivity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a few. You check your pack leaflet if you can read it. If you can't read it, there are websites you can go to look for side effects of all medications. I'm trying to remember the name of it. Can't remember, but I've written about it many times on the website.
Or you can get your computer to read it out.
Yes, yes.
But yeah, there's various programs that do that. It's very boring, but sometimes useful. And also, yeah, all medications, they have some side effect, and then once you've got different combinations of medications, if you've got several medications with the same side effect, obviously you have to be really, really careful. So just a few other things to look out for. If anyone's on things like diuretics, obviously you have to be very careful with your water balance for that, and not get dehydrated too fast. If there's anything that upsets your stomach, which I know antifungals can tend to do that, again, be really careful, because if you've got like diarrhea and vomiting when it's hot weather, you can get dehydrated so quickly. If you're having problems with that kind of thing, it's worth just asking your pharmacist, is there anything that I can do to help with this? Because sometimes they've got a whole box of tricks and different recommendations, or anti-nausea tablets and all different things. Yeah, and blood pressure medication as well. Just anything that affects your water balance, just be very careful with. So there's a couple of other conditions that they're not respiratory, but I know they affect quite a few people in our patient group. So I'm just going to quickly mention them. So adrenal insufficiency, which would some people that take steroids for a long time, they find that when they come off them, their own adrenal glands don't switch back on. They don't produce your own cortisol well enough, and so then you have to have treatment for that, and that's long term. And it's a pretty awkward one to juggle on top of everything else. So I don't think anybody online now has it, but if there's anyone watching on video later, just be really careful. Stay hydrated, but be aware that bottled water that you buy in the shop, it often has very low sodium. So you probably want to carry either some snacks or salt tablets if you use them. Just be aware of how much you might need. And if you feel tired and dizzy, you might need to take more of your medication. But make sure you have your plan is in place and you understand it all before this happens. Build in loads of rest time, even if it's boring, and even if the grandkids are nagging you to hurry up, you need to rest, and it'll be much worse if you don't. So plenty of time to sort of sit down in between sections of walking, and just cool down.
Can I just add a bit to this?
Yes.
I do suffer from adrenal insufficiency because of long-term use of steroids, and it shows itself when I may be coughing so much, and I've been sick because I've also got a gastric problem whereby some foods and sadly alcohol make me vomit sometimes, and that will make me faint because I haven't got the adrenal cortisol to look after me. So that's how that works. I have to have and carry around with me a hydrocortisone injection, which I have to make up myself. So I have to know I'm going to feel faint and make it up in time if I'm on my own. The other issue is carrying it around in hot weather. Yes, I now know I'll carry it with an ice container, an ice thing in a bag so that it keeps cool. And the other thing is that an awful lot of drugs say keep below 25 degrees. And I worry about putting everything in the fridge where it might be too cold for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So and it doesn't, I mean, I'm sure it would say don't put it in the fridge if you didn't want it that cold, but you know, to find the coldest space in a warm flat isn't easy. The point is that, yeah, you really have to read labels and understand what you're doing, and plan if you have the complications of adrenal insufficiency. The website you've given regarding Addison's disease, I appreciate why you've done that, but not everyone, and this is for our new member Jess, not everyone who has adrenal insufficiency is necessarily a sufferer of Addison disease or Crohn's or the others.
Yeah.
It can just be on its own, but I appreciate you've put that because that's where the help is.
Yeah, I think on the main landing page it goes into the distinction between them, but yeah, actually, yeah, if you went straight to the hot weather one, it might not be obvious. Yeah, they cover both. Yeah, so yeah, like you say, just knowing what every medication does, how to use it ahead of time.
Yeah.
And like if you've got friends and family with you, if they can sometimes support you, like they might notice notice quicker than you do that you don't look right.
Well, hard to tell when you've got a motorbike helmet on, but anyway,
that's true.
I have taught my friends how to give me an injection if my husband isn't with me.
Oh, that's really good.
Yeah. Well, don't hurt.
And if you feel unwell at all, just be much quicker than you normally would to get some help, because it's like even somebody totally healthy, if you're out on the beach for the day and in the sun too much and too much sugar or something, I think everybody comes home feeling a bit grotty. But if you've got health conditions, don't just write it off as, oh, I probably just walked a bit too far. Like, if you don't feel well, know what your sort of red flag symptoms are, when you need to call the doctor, or even go to A&E if you need to. And if you're out for the day, or like gone caravanning or something, before you set off, it's a good idea to look up where is the local A&E, where is the local walk-in centre, and keep the phone number and the postcode. Just write it on a bit of paper in your wallet. So if something does happen and you need emergency care, I mean, obviously, like, there's ambulances, but if you want, sort of know where the help is available from if you need it. Yeah. And the other condition that can get quite complicated in heat is diabetes, because obviously that's quite a juggling act. You already have to manage your activity levels versus your food, and a lot of things can affect your blood sugar level. So some things to just be aware of: if you inject insulin, it might be absorbed quicker than it normally does, just because your blood flow is faster when you're hot. So don't, obviously, just be cautious that you don't inject too much by mistake. Just factor it in. And it's not a bad idea if you're maybe going away for the week or something, if your activity levels and timings and what you eat is going to be very different from usual, it's not a bad idea to just take a notepad and write down what you ate at different times, and like what exercise you did or things like that. If something, because when you're trying to calculate what you need to eat and how much insulin you need. You might find that useful, because it's difficult to remember what you did yesterday. Like you think, oh yeah, I had that ice cream, didn't I? Or actually, I was out in the sun we went for a walk and we took longer than expected. So it's a good aid for your memory if you write it down. And if you do the little blood test, I can't I've lost the word. The little strips, the finger prick and the sticks. It's good if you just check your blood sugar a bit more often than normal, especially right before and after exercise. So if you're going for a big walk with a family, or you're going to go swimming in the sea or something, it's good practice to just do a few extra checks just to make sure you're on track. Keep the insulin cool, and if it looks funny, like either cloudy or the color goes a little bit brownish, that means it's got too hot and it probably won't work properly. And also make sure your friends and family know what to do in case of a hypo. Even if you hardly ever get them, just make sure you've got some snacks or whatever you normally carry with you, and that your friends and family know not just what to do, but how to recognize it. Because with hypos, people can just sort of act funny, like it doesn't always look like ill, they just seem a bit odd. So make sure they know what to look for. Obviously, we've been hearing a lot on the TV about swimming and people unfortunately drowning. Choose a place with a lifeguard. So I think we've probably all got enough sense not to jump off a cliff into ice cold water, but you never know. If you get into water and it's too cold, it can just switch your breathing off just instantly. The best thing you can do, I know it's easier said than done, not to panic, but try not to panic. Float on your back and just breathe as steadily as you can for a few, and you'll come round in a few minutes. Like you'll recover quite quickly. You just need to just try and breathe slowly and not sink under the water. And obviously, like, yeah, call for help if you're able to, or sort of wave. You might want, like, if you're on voriconazole, you may not want to be going swimming in the sea anyway, because it might just be too bright outside. But in general, it's a good idea to wear a t-shirt, and remember to apply sun cream more often than you think. When you're having fun, it's really easy to stay in the sea for too long and then come back in and realize that you're as red as a lobster. And if you have to be quite, if you've got thin skin from steroids, you absolutely do not want to be getting sunburn. It could get quite nasty. And also just don't overdo it. Just take it very, very steadily, because swimming, it's quite a notorious sport for people. You can use up a lot more oxygen than you think. And even athletes do it. There's been athletes even who drown because they're very fit, and they use more oxygen than they realize they're doing, and get into difficulty. So just go steady, and maybe be a bit, if you're going out of your depth, just be a bit careful with it, especially if you're chasing around after grandchildren who have endless energy and they forget that adults don't always. Does anyone have any other tips that they've been using that they think should add?
I have I suppose it's more like a discussion point. Something I've seen a number of times in the last few weeks during the heat wave is a news item around when to stop using electric fans. Well, some people, some thoughts are once you get over 35, 35, an electric fan is no longer cooling you down, but you feel like you're being cooled down, and you lose track of your hydration and so on, and it can be quite dangerous. Other people, other areas of thought say that happens around 40. So if we're up in the upper end of 35 to 40, don't rely on your electronic fan. Is the message. I'm not sure what you're supposed to do alternatively. I think maybe just refocus your awareness on different ways of keeping cool and staying hydrated, I think. But I was quite surprised to see it, but I saw it in several places, and it does seem to be true.
I got to admit, I haven't seen that, but if it feels cooler because I've got a ceiling fan above me at night, if it feels cooler, it's working.
Yeah, and especially if you put like a wet towel or something with a fan going over it, that's really very strong cooling.
Yeah, if
it
it's
can
at
make
night time,
your...
it's not going to be at 35, so you'll be fine.
Well, during the day as well, though.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm in bed sometimes if I don't feel well enough. I'm in bed and it's working and it's wonderful.
It seemed to be an awareness thing, just so that you're aware.
Yeah.
If you're getting up too hot and you're starting to feel a bit weird, maybe your fan isn't working for you as you thought it should do.
It can make your airways quite dry as well, which
as you say, you drink water. Yeah.
It's quite a surprise because something that's very good if you something hospitals have started to do is to pass out fans to patients who are waiting to be seen, because if you see them starting to gasp for breath, a breeze of air on your face, and this has actually been gone into in a clinical trial, using a handheld fan actually has a big impact on your stress while you're waiting and your breathlessness.